without flesh or bone.
Ah, don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since... Well, you know, I don't know what happened to her. Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the Forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo. Most of us have almost nothing, just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and scrounge up since. And this central plateau is where the magistrate and the other patricians live, so don't expect a warm welcome.
Galerius, you're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You'd better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
What was that? What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy. Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me, please. Follow me. The only thing you really need to understand right now is the Golden Rule. Let me see if I can explain it this way. When I was serving in the Legion, if there was a mutiny brewing in one cohort, the legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10. Made us draw straws. And whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9. Didn't matter whether he'd done anything wrong. One of us in 10 would die for the crimes of the collective. We call it decimation. If that seems like rough justice to you, you're in for a rude shock. Because the Golden Rule is exactly 10 times worse. The magistrate can explain the rest. Who's up these stairs?
Are they? We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name? A curious name to match a curious accent. But I digress. I see you have the piercing and astute eyes of a man of great learning. We're always happy to welcome another scholar to our little community. Equitia will be delighted to meet you, I'm sure. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains, many hundreds of years ago. Indeed. More importantly, consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing. Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin? Nor could I until I came here. But the reason for this miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined, turning us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. and now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions. Please, ask away. An intelligent question. There was a good deal of debate about that in our first weeks here. Does it refer to crimes or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and certainly no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about lying, insulting someone, blasphemy, trespass, trying to escape, bribery, infidelity, suicide? As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen. And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries. Barbaric? Barbaric? What are you talking about? The Empire is the most civilizing force in the known world. Rome is a beacon of light in the darkness. For 800 years, we have comprehensive laws protecting the rights of our citizens, which have unified countless warring tribes all across the Mediterranean and beyond, from Gallia to Judea. All our citizens are treated the same, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. Can you say the same? When our people are starving, they are given food rations, and when they are wronged, they have the right to bring the guilty party before the magistrate. Our laws forbid treason, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so on. No other civilization in the world is so advanced, and you have the hubris to call us barbaric? Of course, what else would we do with those prisoners of war who would otherwise have been executed? And besides, there are laws for their protection as well. On occasion, but our gladiators are almost all volunteers seeking glory, or condemned prisoners who would have been executed anyway. I do not see the harm. Of course, but with fewer rights come fewer responsibilities, and the right to be protected by their fathers and husbands. You mean the blasphemous cult responsible for burning down half of Rome last year? It's hard to blame the people for being angry about that. Are you talking about our practice of decimation? Of course. We could hardly unite all these warring tribes without a disciplined, formidable legion. I have made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies in the shadows. I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you. You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew that person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you? 2,000 years? That is unfathomable. Please tell me, in your time, what did you see? What had become of us, of this city? I have imagined it, our downfall, 1,000 times, but it still breaks my heart to hear the truth of it. All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions. I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual. I don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future? Ah, I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you? Well, I suppose that's all I can ask for. Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfectly normal. As for me, well, it pains me to say my attempts to impose order have not earned me many friends. I fear I may not even remain magistrate after today's election. The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot. Do you ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes. The less I prejudice the independence of your investigation, the better. Ah, good. So, are you with me? Wonderful. Now, I need you to investigate the city. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked. Figure out who the culprit. Oh, and one last thing. If I were you, I heard wailing from... Are they?
Fear is proof of a degenerate mind. What now? I'm a legionary of the First Italica, but there's not a lot of fighting down here. So the magistrate has assigned me other duties. I act as the magistrate's right-hand man, keeping an eye on his daughter, I should say. I also keep a red... I'm from Liguria, up north originally. I was doing all right for myself. 12 years into my service. But not anymore. She's probably figured out. My commander sent me to deliver a message to Rome. While I was there, that's when the crowd started flooding through the street. Then some Genetricum fugitive tried to take advantage of the chaos and pinch my pendant. I remember chasing him through the crowds, down towards the river. Blacked out and woke up near here. No idea. Ah, don't be. That's sad. He's one of the better commanders I've ever had, that's for sure. Good stoic. They'd treat you an inferior, as you would wish your superior. Can't ask for much more. I don't see why not. Of course. Well, as I always say, by threatening to execute 1 in 10 men, if you knew you could be executed because your because your only chance of saving yourself is to stop. It's brutal, of course, but effective. What's done is done. I was forced to execute my brothers in arms, and as with the Golden Rule, I don't have any control over it. So railing against it would be like trying to stop the Caesar. As Seneca the Younger wrote, true happiness, but to rest satisfied. If you like. Not that it's any of your business. Unfortunately, see, Domitius has been going around town, shoring up votes for Malleolus with... The man's a savage, but he's a gladiator, so people fear and respect him more than they should. Sentius knows about it, of course, but this place will be different with that sleaze at the helm. I appreciate the thought, but you're new here, and I just can't... In any case, if you're interested in the election... All right?
Ave. A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
On your best behavior, I trust?
Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're from. I suppose it's quite charming in its own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal. The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office, by which time you would already know how to address me. And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change. You know, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here? Karen, you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you? Why is that? The memes? What are the memes? So, a bit like... So your people make hieroglyphics? I apologize. I don't... Have you spoken with any... I really think you should. Go around... Good. I just... don't... Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community. She was always so chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them... And then, about a month, she withdrew, stopped working and became despondent. But she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows and told us we were ignorant. Look, it could be unrelated. Perhaps she's... But there is a small chance. I just don't want to see... Thank you. Now, go and follow the thread of truth through this labyrinth and come back to me if you I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds. We ask for blessings, for good health, bountiful... But here, it's... I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is... Wonderful. It goes like this. Baucis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town. One night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door, asking for a place to stay the night. Of course, being vagrants, they're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all. until finally they come to the little cottage where Baucis and Philemon lived. Now the kind old couple had very little to offer, but nevertheless, they invite these strangers into their house and offer them food, wine, and a place to stay. Immediately the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Baucis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic. Realizing only a select few possess such powers, says to her husband, Philemon, "I think these men are gods in disguise." Immediately the couple begins apologizing for offering such coarse wine, and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and Mercury, the trickster god. They confide they didn't mind the meager offerings. They were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test, but everyone else in this city failed, so we are going to destroy this place and everyone in it, except you, who we will grant a wish." So old Baucis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is for eternity together. Meanwhile, Jupiter carries through with his threat. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate. I'm pleased to hear it. It must be completed by dusk. It'll be between Sentius, Why do you up? All of the male citizens who are willing and able to attend. Well, but if it's any consolation, by using whatever gift, I'm responsible for announcing it and making certain. And did you note? Oh, keep asking people how they wound up. Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind, and it... Come back. Keeping an eye on things, Horatius?
As always, priestess.
Any news about Scintilla, Navia, or Kabash?
No sign of any of them, I'm afraid. But we do have a newcomer. Strangely dressed fella. Funny accent, too.
A traveler from a faraway land, then?
Seems that way.
Then let's make sure he feels welcome, shall we?
Of course, priestess.
Give me a moment. Sorry I'm such a mess. I just lost a patient and a dear friend. Yulia. She was a good woman. She was poisoned. She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally I'd treat her with resin of silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Decius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says, "That'll be 1,000 denarii." There was no way I could afford that, and he knew it. Then that toad shrugs and says, "Supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly." Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall, but there's no way I can do that down here with the golden rule. So all I could do is come back here and just watch her die. I kept on apologizing, and now I'll never know who poisoned her, or how they managed to do it without breaking the golden rule, or why she cursed that snake's cruel black eyes with her dying breath. Well, unless you have the power to bring someone back from the dead, there's really just one thing you can do. Get me that silphium resin. I'm going to have another patient in here soon. Could be in the next day or in the next hour. And I will not allow this to happen again. I don't care how you get it, but you have to make it happen. Because if I lose another patient this way, I swear to the gods below, Not even the Golden Rule will stop me from marching up to that Genetri Kamfututo and scratching his eyes out. A city without sin might sound good on paper, but whoever dreamt it up didn't think it through. Maybe it was an attempt to create some kind, but snakes like Decius will always find loopholes to exploit. Absolutely nothing. In some way... Sure. Hemlock, I believe. I haven't seen her in months. She's not allowed to leave Malleolus' villa. And they... Do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody poisoned her, then surely they would have... Gladly. I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been filling in ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time, but I'd rather take this on myself. My husband and I moved to Rome from Caesarea. He embraced the Roman way more than I would have liked and turned into an awful philanderer. I would have divorced him and demanded the return of my dowry, but I knew he would sooner have me killed than give me my right. So I waited for the right time to take what was mine and disappear. And as he prepared to evacuate our villa, I could barely see for the smoke. And the next thing I remember... It's all right. Say what you will about this place, and while there's no shortage of snakes here, at least with the Golden Rule, Oh, this shrine was kind of strange to set, but the god who inflicts a curse is also the only god who can... Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing until she suddenly lost all interest. This changes everything. She kept... The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues. And then she shut herself in the palace. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving one of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. I really shouldn't say. He's become so irritable that the smallest thing said, I just know Nevia would know how to treat him. Thanks, I suppose. I wish some people here need proper Just don't get sick or injured here. Well, come back if you get... May Apollo keep you safe.
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Dacius, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it. Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Daisy. Terrible shame what happened to you. You mean, how did I end up here? All right. Well, you see, I'm in the business of mostly sculptures, vases, the occasional Had myself a nice little shop in Rome, just off the Forum. Lots of foot traffic and See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. Oh, but, to my surprise, we make it. And I see this barge loading up, and it's so... But the captain's happy to take my coin. So I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done. Of course I chose the cart. I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money. So I put my hand on the cart, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the Tiber. Naturally, I dived in after it, hoping to salvage my fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my... When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank, not... Thank you, friend. But it turns out it might have been a stroke of good fortune. Look around you, there must be more gold in here than... I'm afraid not. If you're desperate, I did hear that Aurelia... Some people here... Oh yeah, gotta watch out. It's terrible for inflation is what it is. There's so much gold just lying around, it's practically worthless. At least down here. Of course, I have an idea for generating real wealth, but what I need is a bow. Just a simple composite bow. I've scoured this city from top to bottom with no luck. But if you... Oh, well, technically yes, but that just means... Thank you, friend. Certainly. All right. That's hardly my concern. But if you get a job, work... Very well. Perhaps I can interest you in something within your... Very well.
Greetings and salutations. Greetings, I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our... And I must say, my sartorial friend, you... Leather boots in place of sandals, trousers with... I have travelled distant trade, and never have I seen anyone dressed quite... And now you have me more intrigued than before. But see, we will have much time here to get to know one another. My story? How kind of you... A good question. A very good question indeed. And I remember I had just been to Rome to sell an extraordinary selection of wares. And drowning in coin, I decided to... I rented a prestigious villa by the Tiber, and we began making our way through some of the most... Now, I have had visions and awoken in strange places before. I have even found myself naked in the desert sands more than... This time, I remember people screaming, then falling... When I regained my faculties, I was lying naked by... Indeed. I'm lucky I was carrying a... In any case, it seems I'd been rescued and resuscitated. I went to find firewood for his campfire, stumbled across a cave. You mean to say, with all the turmoil and terror of the... I'll tell you, it is precisely because I say the more of our customs we preserve down here, the... Oh, If we all end up as golden statues for future generations to marvel, anything you like. Ah, yes. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. Have you not heard the tale of the god Hades? When Demeter, the mother of Persephone, learned of this, instead, she changed the climate of Earth. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands. So yes, we know this rule. This has all... If we are to survive, I say we must each keep the simple wisdom of Thales of Miletus. Avoid doing what you would blame other... It does, doesn't it? But it is not enough for us to do this alone. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of... But for all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues... That, my friend, is quite the dilemma. But after some I do not enjoy the thought of another... Nothing come. I hope that our...
May Apollo keep you safe. Well, may Apollo keep you safe.
Just as the ocean accepts, but it does not. The bloodless shadows wander, some the house of the ruler. They... The bloodless... Help me. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. You think you wish to know. It is better for you if you remain... The newly... Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, but they are ignorant.
This again. You're in a world of your own, aren't you? you're here. And, I hope I'm not being too forward. There's a light in your eyes. Ugh, coming on. I take back what... Let's just forget that ever happened, so we can at least do business. So, what brings you to my tavern? Ugh, let's... You know, normally, I'd expect... Straight to business, huh? As a matter of fact, I'm happy to tell you all about it, but... So, how bad... Well, I can't tell you too much, or you'd figure it out for yourself. But I... Simple. It's a one-way trip, and I'm... If I took your money without giving you what I promised... Well, perhaps you could take out a loan. I just try not to think about it. Certainly. How im... All right.
You, Tantalus, cannot catch the drops of water, and the tree you grasp at eludes you. You, Tantalus, cannot catch the drops of water, and the tree you grasp at eludes you.
I hope you're taking care of yourself. Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the Golden Rule. Ah, another stoic, perhaps. We've all been where you are now. I used to lay awake at night, contemplating the big questions. I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. Here, in this place, the magistrate has me earning my keep. I used to live in a lovely villa on the banks of the Tiber. But long hours of menial... Oh, much the same way as many of the others. When the fires came to Rome, 7 months ago, my family, we were among the fortunate ones with enough coins for passage, but a scuffle broke out and I was pushed. I woke up by the river. Oh, that's all right. I'm sure it's all part of God's... Oh yes, of course. A slip of the tongue. If you like. The many shall... I'd like to think that if we all love our neighbours as ourselves and do to them... But on the other hand, I was always taught the intent... And that's where I get stuck. Is it true? Are we born with a tendency towards sin? You don't think that's a little naive? Innocent men and women, torn... If that's true, then sooner or later, things are going to end... Please keep that to yourself. I know you're not from around here, but... Things are very... There was a terrible fire in Rome last year. Oh, thank you. I'm afraid not. Although, I did once hear someone gossiping down at... I don't put a lot of stock in such rumours. If that doesn't work, then... I hope it works out. All right, well, it was lovely to...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh, no. No. Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for... Please just think this through.
I'm sorry, but
Please, Ulpius, help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never... I don't know, but it's a crime for slaves to take their own lives. Thank you.
let me guess. You're going to let him... You're not going to trick me. I'm no... Like what? I'm stuck slaving away for that culus cumulatis for the rest of my life. You're just saying that to You must think I'm out. Wherever you are. Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! Well, I suppose it means suicide isn't a sin under the Golden Rule. I'll have to let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up, and I'd best pray.
Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Yes, thank you. I'm delighted and deeply honored. Elected your magistrate. And now, I make this solemn. A day of celebration, I hereby announce a day of celebration in Hominy.
What were you two talking about? Don't play dumb. I saw you. Having a shady little chat. What's he offering you? What? You're throwing your Mark my words. Malleolus is gonna be magistrate. You've been trying to undermine his hard-won victory. Good. Then stay out of it. Nobody likes Caput Murdae foreigners interfering in an election. Can't hurt. The name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus, you go through me. Why? Because... You want to see me fight? When Malleolus wins the election, yeah? I think it's gone on long enough. He's going to announce it in his victory. We've already lined up the votes in. Malleolus, of course. If old man... Whatever. Hey! You're not thinking about going into the cistern, are you? Good. You be eating up. Nobody's told you about Hannibal. So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. One day, a few weeks back, he said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed. Anyway, a few days later, so I go down after him, and hunched over him was something that made a creature. If it was a man, maybe. But I swear I'm more like a Strix, or some Versipelus that feeds on human flesh. What any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there and put... Good idea.
now. Oh, yeah. You don't. If. I hope. All right.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no. Orpheus, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would...
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of...
I know things are hard for you right now. Please, please just think this through.
I'm sorry, but...
Please, help him.
I'm out. Wherever you are. Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Orpheus, no!
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens.
You're not supposed to be in here. Talk. My marital affairs and... I think a better question is, why I have quite enough marriage trouble already without having... I think it's a... Preferably the... Finer, this is outrageous.
Did you just leap into my villa from the balcony 100 feet above? That was either... Well, why have you read... I'm Malleolus, and if it wasn't for this interruption, I'd be practicing my victory speech. I'm glad you asked. I'll finally restore freedom to this... These good people have... By declaring there's no such thing as the Golden Rule. It's a children's fable exploited by Sentius to frighten us into submission. Wait, don't tell me you fought... The person making a claim bears the onus of proving that claim. Can you do that? Why? What... I disagree. I'll be guided by what is best for the city's people. Surely, you're not one of those people who believe... True, but... I'm afraid not. We're stuck down... You mean the children's fable? I trust you through the door this time?
What were you two? Don't. What's your... What? Good, then. Can't. I think it's gone on long. We've already... When Malleolo... Her name's Domitius. What? What?
Ave again. And did you know? That's true. I know I wasn't in touch. What else? Yes. What else? Yes. I suppose that it's as I feared. You mentioned earlier. I see. Because I've seen her before. But don't follow too closely.
Help! You have to do something. A man arrived in the baths. A real nasty sort, with his face all covered up. And he's got a weapon.
Please, go and stop him, and come back to me once we're no longer in danger.
Make sure you stay away from that empty shrine. It's going to collapse at any moment.
Help! You have to... A man arrived in the bar. You have to do something, or he's going to break the gold... None of us do. The magistrate made us throw them all in. You'll just have to... I have to... What? All right, Fabia, but now...
Stop right there. I'm looking for Tiberius Quinctius Crispus, otherwise known as Quinctius. Do you know where he is? Thank you. For your service to the Empire,
I take it, follow, but don't follow too closely. You're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was here. Look down at the... If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It was C-H-A-R-O-N, as in Charon, the ferryman of the dead. Charon, who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. I'm afraid so. It's all starting to make sense. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they don't remember their final moments. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld. And I know it's a lot to take in, and... That was my first thought too. But it was also possible for the living... Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting each of them is slightly different. But they always involved the souls of the dead, meeting a grim... It was said that he'd help the new arrival. That's why it was once our custom to bury our... Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek. To be fair, the ferryman isn't exactly... You say you saw a young woman named Karen with a hood, and I once heard Kabash mention a stranger in a ram headdress, and Rufius described meeting a stranger named Kamut. But whatever form this stranger took, they were always wearing... I suspect the only way you'll solve this Good question. Let's see. But that never made any sense to me. In our case, it seems Charon didn't take... So, maybe there's something... No. I mean, I had my suspicions. Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do. We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. Hercules, the demigod and son of... Hercules was able to leave the... Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able...